Be honest. Is it wrong to have racial preferences in terms of dating, forming relationships, and even marriage? In Race and Ethnic Relations in 2019, a person posed this question that really stirred things up. The person criticized their peers who were overly critical and even harsh against those who indeed had racial preferences. Nobody in the class was really brave enough to come out and say their preference publicly in front of everyone. But in the anonymous platform that I was administering, many students came out and said that they indeed had racial preferences in terms of romantic relationships. Aside from preferences in interracial relationships, some argue that interracial relationships don't work. Others believe that interracial relationships do work. Authors, experts, and other critics even provide self-help books like Interracial Romance, The Ultimate Guide to Survival, as if interracial relationships are one of the most difficult things in the world. You may even see articles on how interracial couples are navigating complex and sensitive topics, which, I should note, assume that things in interracial relationships are going to be complex and sensitive. Other experts are wondering what is behind the rise of interracial relationships in the US. Others may point to family dynamics and the potential trouble that a couple may face in dealing with family members who oppose interracial relationships in general. A Huffington Post article by Grace Bushell raised some important questions. And these questions are largely anchored in frustration and annoyance that individuals in interracial relationships feel and often hear. These questions include: how does your family feel about your partner's race? You are dating a blank. Aren't you worried about blank? Wouldn't it just be easier to just date your own race? But think of your children. Aren't you worried that they're going to be bullied? Do people stare at you when you go on dates? These are various questions raised by, again, these experts, these commentators, these authors, as it pertains to interracial relationships. Now, some of you may know that I am in an interracial marriage. Miriam Santamaria, my wife, was born in Mexico. Her ancestry is Spanish, as in the country Spain, and Indigenous American, which is essentially Native American. And personally, we have not dealt with any significant problems. None of the matters which were raised in this video have really impacted us to any degree. And thankfully, our families are quite supportive of just loving relationships in general, and they really don't see race. And I want to be clear that it's not like they're colorblind and they don't understand how different people in different groups face different barriers in society. They're just behind us because they know that we're in love. But I understand that this is obviously not the case. And I think it raises some important questions for all of us to consider in light of interracial relationships. These questions include: what values and practices need to be in place for a successful interracial relationship? And are these values and practices any different from a, quote, non-interracial relationship? A second question: is having a racial preference any different than having a preference for, say, tall people or smart people? And question number 3: are you ready to start dating different? Please feel free to open up on these questions as much as you'd like. You can be as personal or as vague as you wish to be. Looking forward to seeing the comments. Thank you.